Creeping through the pines, aliens sending secret signs. EVPs in the dead of night, ghosts dancing in the pale moonlight. Paranormal 411, we bring it to ya. Truth behind the veil, gotta pursue ya. Talking about the strange, the freaky, the weird. Fearless, we dive wherever you see ya. Portal opens in the woods so deep. Creatures crawl from a timeless sleep. Lights in the sky, they flicker and blaze. Signals from beyond these earthly days.
All right.
All right.
It's Saturday.
It's Saturday.
Hope everybody had a good week. It was
Yeah.
hot. At least here in East Tennessee it was.
It surprised me. It didn't rain yesterday. I mean, it did just a tad, but
Last night it came a good one.
it wasn't wet at my house.
Oh, well, here it came a deluge. It rained almost all night long here.
Wow.
Yeah. Our power went out like 3 times.
I was praying for it to rain, but it never did.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I got your rain.
My mud's drying up. My mud's drying up.
Mud puppies are crying, huh?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So we got a good show tonight.
Yes.
We kind of put him on the spot Thursday, and he said, okay.
He said, sure. It was like, woo woo.
So this was short notice, and we appreciate him coming on
absolutely.
here. Stephen Watson from Arcane Discoveries is going to be with us.
Yes.
He got a lot of stuff going on, stories I know.
Yes.
Knows a lot about the National Forest.
Baby girl Casper says no rain for me either. Man, I guess I just live in the vortex.
You must.
Because it was terrible. I mowed today and it was just clumping and had to mow it like
I
10
mowed
times.
the day before yesterday. So
I should have mowed last week. It was almost knee high.
I need to mow again.
It was bad.
I need to mow again.
Do you?
So Stephen Watson, he's a dedicated researcher and investigator at Arcane Discoveries with deep-rooted connection to his hometown in Tennessee. At the age of 29, he has spent his entire life exploring the vast expanse of the Cherokee National Forest in Tellico Plains. Engaging in activities such as hunting, fishing, hiking, and camping, his work primarily revolves around documenting and investigating a wide range of phenomena from paranormal to Bigfoot and historical events, and a lot of local folklore. His experience spanned across Monroe, McMinn, and Polk counties, where he has collected numerous stories and personal encounters. His investigations have led him to explore haunted locations, track down elusive creatures, and delve into the mysteries of local legends. He has also worked on theories related to historical figures and their possible connections to mythical beings. In addition to his research, Stephen's a family man who shares his passion for the unknown with his son. He's also part of a group of like-minded individuals who share their experience and findings, contributing to the collective knowledge of their community. Stephen's relentless curiosity and commitment to uncovering the truth make him a valuable asset to Arcane Discoveries in the field of paranormal and cryptid research. His work continues to shed light on the mysteries that surround us, inspiring others to look beyond the known and question the world around them. So we're going to bring him on. What's up, Stephen?
See you, everybody.
Hey. Shell says she's on Rumble.
Rumble.
I got a big thing. I got big standards now after that intro.
Yeah, I know, right?
You like that?
That's pretty good. I appreciate that. I have to set the bar a little higher.
Yeah.
And I may have because some other research I've been doing that involves the sky above us.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't know where you guys want to start with.
Wherever, yeah, let's just go.
We'll start with that.
Yeah.
So y'all, and everybody may have heard of it before, but it's something I've kind of I've not talked, but I've kind of been digging into here recently and trying to understand about aeroplankton. Aeroplankton is pretty much microorganisms of some sort that live in the atmosphere.
Mhm.
So there's a portion of the atmosphere between where I can't remember the exact stratosphere. It's not the stratosphere, I don't think. But there's a certain point in the atmosphere where actual life is living. There's actually water. As you go up and elevation gets colder,
Mhm.
and then there's a point in humidity that's there sustainable for life. This is also where shout out to Justin at Crypts of the Corn, because I got a lot of my information from him. These are where these manta rays and jellyfish like objects are coming from and feeding from.
Oh,
And especially in our area where we have high elevations,
yeah.
that's helped feed that ecosystem up in the sky. All the moisture and the humidity and everything else coming off the trees.
Right.
So yeah, it's a pretty. I'm
That's
still
interesting.
yeah, I'm still learning a little bit more of it, but yeah,
Yeah.
that's something I'm diving off to right now.
Wow. I've never even heard of it
Yeah,
at all.
yeah, it's like little microorganisms that look like plankton and other such things like that.
Huh.
Hmm.
Have you heard of that?
Never heard of it.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, that's pretty cool.
I mean, it's got to happen. I mean, I believe it happens because it's
Well, I mean, I wouldn't see why not, because we already know that organisms live in the coldest places, in the hottest places on Earth, and also in space.
Mhm.
There's organisms that can live in space too. And so if that's, I mean, we know that's real, so why couldn't that
Well,
be,
this certain spear shares a lot of relations with the ocean. So there's a
Oh.
lot of right now. NASA and some other scientists have added 40,000 different types of microorganisms that live in that space, and these people have been seeing manta rays and jelly-like fish-like things coming through that area or down in our lower atmosphere where we can hear
Mhm.
them, and that's where they believe it could be feeding at.
wow.
And
That's
they're very translucent, so that would give a lot of insight to your, how would I put it, like your you living UFO,
got you.
how it
Mhm.
moves. It ain't like a normal tic tac or anything like that. It'd be like a moving UFO. And I've seen videos and pictures. It looks like an actual manta ray going through the sky. It's
Mm.
pretty neat.
I think I have seen some of those, and I was just like, yeah.
Wouldn't that also explain the way that them creatures can live at such a depth in the ocean? Like, the vacuum of space is pressure.
Mhm.
So this pressure in the ocean is probably around the same
It's it's
pressure.
it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
How the further you go down in the ocean, like the
Mhm.
Mariana Trench, there's so much pressure there. But
Yep.
at the same time, if I may have my facts a little wrong, at this spear, this certain point of elevation, there's not a whole lot of pressure putting onto these creatures or whatever they are. So it's sustainable enough for them to live. They've got water, they got food, they pretty much feed off each other, and then the moisture in the atmosphere, that's where they get their water.
That's
That's
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's a very
I
deep.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a very deep topic.
I'm gonna have to look into that myself,
Yeah.
because I've never even dove down that
Yeah. As the saying goes, as
rabbit hole.
was it as below, as above,
Yeah.
or as above.
Let's see, as above, so below.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Yep. That's it.
So I know you got a recent
Oh yeah.
recent
Oh.
sighting
Uh-oh.
up here
You
in
mentioned it a little bit on Thursday's show.
was it
I did.
Blount County?
No, it's over here in Monroe County.
Monroe County?
Going up Cityco.
Okay.
So pretty much that night, me and my boy, we got out and rode around. We started at Back Creek because have we talked about that incident here?
Mm-mm.
We haven't talked about where
The
he heard the voices and
Yeah,
Did
I
we?
don't know if we did while he was on the show, but
I don't
you've
think
told
so.
us about it.
okay, yeah,
I think it's
But
when we was over there.
yeah,
doing
when
it.
we all
Yeah.
first met, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't know if we talked about it here, but
Nuh-uh.
that's another story. But anyways, we went out to Back Creek and we was just cruising like we normally do, as we've always done. Nothing, just got out, stood there at the well,
Mhm.
just waited and see what could be happening. We were probably there about 10, 15 minutes. I started to get hot. I'm a big boy, so I started to get hot. Let's go. I'm tired. I'm tired of sitting here.
I know what you mean.
Mosquitoes, they about
Yeah.
took off with us, and I was worried another Jeep would come down there flying.
Yeah, boy, that wasn't fun last time, was it?
But
I was afraid someone was going to die that
oh
day.
yeah. But anyways, we go on up and to like the Sequoia Museum area, all of that area, and kind of doing some exploring because I went off one of the roads as I'm going up to City Co. Just kind of pull off and look around because I haven't been out there, and I found a huge, massive. I found a graveyard that I didn't know was back there.
Really?
So after you cross, I can take you there. It's hard to explain, but
Right.
it's one of the pull offs. One of the last pull offs has got the National Forestry sign there, and it's off at there at the very back with a gate. There's just a little bitty graveyard on the right. But maybe something else kind of point of interest. I didn't know it was there. But
That's interesting.
but we went around there. Nothing really happened there. And I let we had a good night that night. My boy's 14. Decided to start teaching to drive. I thought I'll sit over here and let you drive a little bit on these roads, and he did good. I'm quite proud of him for it.
Yeah.
So I said, all right, my turn to drive. So we go on up, and he had last summer been doing some cleaning at a summer camp went to like City Co and some of the hiking trails and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and did some cleaning. Well, he went to Shucks. While I'm speaking, I'm gonna pull that campsite up because I cannot remember the number off the top of my head, but pretty much it's the one at the end of Cityco. Like if you come in from Varnor side and you go all the way down past the horse corral and
Mhm.
everything, there's that
Right.
little concrete bridge that drops down to that one in the back.
Yeah.
Well, I've heard countless after countless after countless um, encounters with Bigfoot where they're circling the camps, they're throwing rocks, they're making noises, they're bluff charging.
Mhm.
Even I was thinking about on the way over here, Matt Sieber from
Mhm.
East Tennessee. Okay, while back, let's see, when I first got on this subject, I talked to him a little bit. Someone reported seeing nest back there. And he actually went back there, and I remember talking to him about he said, yeah, there was these large woven together nest. One of them was about, he said, I think 10, 15 feet off the ground in a tree.
Wow.
So there's just countless things there.
We had a guy when we was at here in Loudon for that October thing that we did downtown.
Yeah.
Remember what that was called?
I have no idea
Uh,
what it was called.
but anyway, he told us a story about that. He was back there hunting, and he goes, when you go back there, there's a way that it kind of splits, and then it goes off onto another bridge, and then it goes up, and it dead ends, and then they would get out and probably walk another 2 miles back there to go hunting or
And
something.
that's in City. Yeah,
Yep,
that
instead of
sounds like to me um, sort of far gap up there.
yeah,
Because see, there's one big whole section of mountain they call up on the left side. We've called it. I've been told it's been called, and I've been there called the Little Stack and the Big Stack.
okay,
That's just right outside of the bear reserve. So a lot of people like to go there and hunt, and I know
right,
guys that hunt back in there and stuff like
right,
that. But this word I'm talking about would lead right into that if you walk it, because there's hiking trails.
right,
All the hiking trails up there lead to one another.
right. That's where he said he was out there hunting, and he had something that was encircling him,
Hmm.
and then he said then it was like more than one,
Hmm.
and he said that he it was gone,
Oh yeah,
and he said he's not been back since, and it was been I don't know what he say 12 years or something. He's not
really.
been back. Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's the number one thing that happens in that area. Your camp will be circled. And it's not only right there at the actual campsite, it's people would walk off the trail a little bit and camp. I've done it before a long
Yeah.
time ago, but I
Yeah.
don't never remember anything happening.
Yeah.
But that's the number one thing. Their camps will be circled. And as they're circling, they come in closer every round they make. I've
Mhm.
got like in my little notebook here I brought with me in case I need the notes. There's a BFRO report about one that come in, and how it just kept circling. So that piqued my interest, and I
Mhm.
started checking more people and everything. That's the number one thing that happens.
Yep. When
But
that guy said it, I was like, "Man, we need to go back here.
oh yeah, yeah.
We've got some thermals and we've got night vision and
Mhm.
everything."
If
So,
it's where I think it is, I know the perfect spot where you walk up. What I've called, I don't know if that's the exact name for it, but I've called it. My papa's called it the heaven staircase. It's just kind of like rocks cut out into the side of the hill of the
mhm.
ridge, and you go up to the top. When you get to the top, you've got this massive area. You can just look off down the holler all the way to the bottom. It's
Really?
just a huge wide open spot. It's kind of where I'd like to go and take that 3 mil black plastic
Mhm.
and wrap somebody in a tree. Just leave them there, see what happens. Because thermal will see through
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
but it won't be detectable, to the naked eye because it's black.
Right.
So, but
That's interesting.
yeah. But we went to go check out that campsite because I know you could still camp there at least until they probably get you out one not because there was problems with people coming there destroying it and everything else. That's why he went and cleaned it up. Well, as we're coming up to it and we're starting to go up the little hill, I look and there's 3 or 4 concrete barriers right on the front of the bridge. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, this past spring, turkey season, we come down that way. There's people there, but this time it's closed.
Hmm.
Hmm.
You couldn't get into it. I
Dang.
don't know why they've closed it. I'm going to try to figure out why, because
Right.
that's a very popular place to camp. Everybody's camped there. That's right. That's
Does that have that bridge?
the low concrete bridge.
Someone that I work with said that he thinks that bridge was getting replaced.
It was replaced actually not too long ago, I
That might have been
believe.
what he was talking about
It's
then.
pretty newer.
Yeah.
Well,
Because
it's
he said that we had a big storm that come through not a year or 2 years or 3 years ago or something that just washed it out.
yeah. Well, it was like I said last spring.
Right.
It was open.
Okay, so then that
Yeah.
must not
Well,
be
this
the same
past
one
spring,
then. Yeah.
Baby girl Casper says it's the submarine bridge. Is that what they called it?
I don't know if that's what they call it or not. I ain't heard it called that.
She said that area has been closed this year for cleanup.
Well, it's like I said last summer he was there cleaning it.
Right.
I don't know. We'll figure it out one way or another. But
Yeah.
so I was disappointed about that because I wanted to pull in there and see what's going to happen. I thought, well, we'll just head on up Monkey Holler and go see if the witch is awake or Jeffrey's out running blue, you know?
Yes.
Because that portion right there where that campground is a little name me and my papa and some friends have called Monkey Holler.
Monkey Holler.
And the only
Huh?
reason it's called Monkey Holler is a guy come down camping one time, way back then, had a pet monkey and they got loose. So the
Oh,
people
heck.
would see the monkey run around and everything, and so they called it Monkey Holler.
Hmm.
At
I
least
can't believe that thing stayed alive for long.
you wouldn't. Well, I mean, I don't know. It may not. It may have adapted
Yeah.
and grown to who knows what. But we go up through her, and as we're traveling up through her, now you can ask my boy, how is this kind of like? I don't like being in here at dark. I've had a couple things happen on that road at dark that I'm not really fond of,
Mhm.
and I don't stay there very long. So I just go cruising up through her, and I've got my ditch lights on my truck, on my hood, and everything, and I've got the ones in the back, so I had a pretty good 360 view. As we're going up there, what I call the witch's cap, because the witch is supposed to be off on the right hand side of the holler,
Mhm.
and that's where she had her house and everything else. So the top of it was called the witch's cap. As we're going up, I just happened to turn my head to the right. And as I did, there was something very large. I mean, very large, start up the ridge at a right angle, like kind of like a right angle from us. Whatever
Really?
this was moving at a speed. I about did not catch it because it how happened like 2 seconds. It's like, and it was gone. But the thing about this thing was, if you imagine Patty in the
Mhm.
Patty Gilman film,
Yeah.
when she's walking right before she goes behind the rocks
Mhm.
and turns and looks back to the right, she's got that right foot up. That's exactly what I seen.
Hmm.
But it was like a brownish tan like color.
Right.
It wasn't a red because right now whitetail deer in our area are like a dark red
Mhm.
with a hint of brown and starting to grow velvet and stuff.
Yeah, I saw one the other day that already started having
Yeah,
horns. So
Yeah, I seen one yesterday. Man, it was red.
yeah. It's
yeah.
probably about as
And
red as your
I
mind.
thought about what you said. Yeah, he's right. They're red.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've got on camera from this past deer season some very large whitetail deer in the mountains, just very large for our area.
Mhm.
And the biggest one I've got right now, well, I call him a creek deer. He's every bit this wide, every bit about 12 and a half, maybe points. He'll be bigger this year.
Ooh.
This deer has to be every bit this wide. I would say, what, 3 foot wide?
Mhm.
Whatever this was much, much wider. Looked like two of it side by side.
Hmm.
And it was just gone up the ridge in matter of seconds. I mean, just disappeared.
See, that was like my sighting when I saw Bigfoot. It was so fast and
Mhm.
it was going up a hill that it was just like
Yeah,
boom, you know.
it happened so quick. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
exactly what it was. If I had been just a little bit, and I think about it now, if I hadn't slowed down for a little water rut or the washout right there in that curve before I got there, I would have caught it at the road. There ain't no way I wouldn't have. If I
Oh.
had been that 2 or 3 seconds quicker,
Then
I'd
you'd
caught.
been like, where I wish I had a dash cam.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. My truck's even got a little attachment for it, so
Yeah.
I need to get one definitely.
Yeah, that's what happened to me because I was in a big truck when I
Mhm.
saw mine, and I was like, "Man, I wish I had a dash cam,"
Yeah,
because he ran across the road in front of me.
yeah, yeah. And we was on the way down, and boys find me. Let's get out. Like I said, no, no, we are not getting out. I said, because look at this. Yeah, I love this subject. But we hunt, we hike, we camp in these woods.
Mhm.
I'm not having something mess that up for us. We're not. No, I said I've got the creek deer to get after. I ain't gonna be scared of these woods. So, and that whole way down, you can ask him. I'm thought that wasn't a deer. That wasn't a deer. That there's no way that's a deer. I said that's not a deer. I fought myself the whole way down that mountain. I hurried home. I was
Did
ready
you?
to get home. Yeah, after that. So
Time to go.
yeah, time to go home. That's enough.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's what happened last Friday.
Man.
I was in Knoxville. I'd like to have went, but I was eating a big old buffet in Knoxville.
Was you? I was working.
Yeah.
I had to go into work early that next morning.
Oh, I slept in that morning.
Did you?
The next morning. Oh yeah. Yeah. Next morning I slept in. Nope. Ain't doing it. I'm gonna stay right here in my comfy bed.
I don't blame you.
Yeah. I want to go back now. But see what was the weird part? See, I've got a friend at work and he's a very skeptic. He kind of brings me back down when I get up here.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to him about it because I noticed when we got up there at the top, there's a pull off right there on the right.
Mm-hmm.
And there's people had tents and stuff set up there. It's not a camping spot. It's actually just a pull off for their hiking trail. But there's people camped there. And the whole time we was coming up through City Code, there were people out, doing their thing at night. It's dark, But these people, there was nobody. There was nothing. There was not a stir. There was not a light, nothing on. I didn't see nobody there whatsoever. And I thought that was kind of weird.
That is
Everybody
weird.
else is out doing their thing. But this spot, there's nobody. I couldn't see nobody. They may have locked themselves in there because it was literally a football field away from that campsite.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was
It
coming.
may have been circling them, heard you coming and decided to hightail it out.
It very well could.
That sounds something like that would happen.
But like I said, my friend kind of brings me down. He's like, "Oh, that was somebody in a suit. That's why you didn't see nobody there." I'm like, "Okay,
yeah.
Let's."
I don't know. You'd have to be pretty dumb to do that because
those woods,
you could carry,
Mhm.
and a lot of people do because they're doing something.
Technically, on that stretch of mountain on the forestry road in your vehicle, you're allowed to have a firearm. But if you step off the road into the trails and stuff, you can't because it's a bear zone. So, and that just feeds into all these, like that guy he's talking about, that whole side of that mountain. You can't carry no firearms. There's hiking trails. There's no camping off in there. But that whole side of that mountain just feeds into a lot of reports off in the Far Gap and everything else where I've heard even from Janice Carter that she calls the old grumpy man, the old big grumpy Bigfoot of the mountain or something like that. He lives there. And when I remember talking to her about all these encounters having her, she said that's who it was. She says the old grumpy Bigfoot of the mountain said he can get up there and resemble a snake, rattlesnake, to run people off at the Turkey Creek overlook.
Yeah.
A lot of people have undoubtedly heard him there imitating a very large rattlesnake.
Yeah. Oh, now that's interesting.
I've heard about a handful of stories about that.
They talk about them being really good at imitating, sounds and all kinds of other stuff.
Yeah, we heard some. Was it this spring, turkey spring season? We heard, no, it wasn't this past because we only went once or twice, but last spring season, turkey season, we heard some weird noises up there, down towards, kind of want to give away my hunting spot, down the river.
Right.
Let's do that.
Yeah, there you go.
Down on the river where we hunt at and stuff, there was a lot of weird noises going on. And also, before I forget, remember the story I told you about the dog behind its head clapped in?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, this past spring, turkey season, I accidentally come upon that site. I didn't remember it because now, which is weird, in the center of it, kind of where we found that dog at, there's a mound. I don't remember a mound being there.
You think something buried it?
I don't know. What made me go back there because there was this down on that portion of it. I think the forestry department maybe cut a little road out and kind of cut a fire line real quick. It's not an actual road.
Mm-hmm.
So I pulled in there and we went in there, sat down that morning to call some birds to see what we can do. And I didn't notice it till we left, and we're walking out, and I'm looking, I'm like, hang on a minute. I said, that gap right there looks awful familiar. Turn around, there's that big old pine tree. I said, yep. And they said, what? My kids were in. I said, what? I said, remember the story about the dog? That dog was laying right there.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I was in that spot. I found the spot again. I didn't realize it until I was walking out.
Then you're like, man, I'm right back where I found that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy. I mean, if that area is able to support bear, it's able to support a Bigfoot.
Right. Someone did a study once on black bear populations and
Hmm.
the diversity of what they eat and what they consume and everything.
Right.
So they said, okay, well, if there's 200 black bear per 200 acres,
Right.
say a bear needs about an acre apiece, right? It's kind of
Right.
like cattle. Every one cow needs 2.3 acres to itself to survive on, grass and stuff.
Right.
But black bear, they, like I said, they use that, and they kind of said, well, if you have this population, this mass here, let's upgrade it. So this area could support 200 black bear, no problem. Bigfoot wise, with the same diet,
Hmm.
you're looking at maybe 4 or 5, a family group. So could very easily survive there.
Right.
Very easily.
Well, it's funny because we had Scott Violet on and stuff, not that long ago, and he was an anthropologist. That's what got him into the studies and stuff. Is he was on these Indian reservations, and they started kind of being like, "Yeah, it's Bigfoot's real," and but they started looking at habits, and they're getting all these reports from everywhere, and then they're also using that app, that Bigfoot
Oh
app,
yeah,
that tracking app or whatever
the
that one is.
Bigfoot Report
Yes,
Project. Yeah.
that's it. They're using that, and they said that if you really look at it and you dive deep into it, it says that you could tell that a family group has about a 200-acre plot that's theirs, and that they will start on one end of it and they will work around, and about every couple of years they'll be back right where they started.
Mhm.
And so, and he says if you look at the reports even show that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
he works with his wife, and his wife is a psychologist that
yeah.
does all the. She ties that into the way they're thinking
Mhm.
Yep.
and they're migrating and
Right.
stuff.
Well, that's
Yep.
what I was about to say. If I'm a 6 foot or 7 foot creature out in
Yep.
the woods, it weighs almost 1,000 pounds.
Yep.
I'm going to need the nutrients to survive. So
Yep.
I'm going to have to move with the water, with the food, what
Yes.
grows here at this point in time and that point in
Yes.
time. You're going
Yep.
to have to.
Yep.
There
And
ain't no
then
way.
the seasons too, because it gets colder earlier in the season up high. So then you start moving down low to get,
Right. Oh yeah, I would have loved before they opened up the bridge up, the Tellico, the Ball River Falls Bridge.
Mhm.
I would have loved to just been a fly on the wall somewhere down that road, because I guarantee you there was so much that went on those roads.
Yeah.
It's because I think that was part of, because if you look at the deer population,
Mhm.
this portion when I'm hunting on the river, there used to never be this amount of large bucks in that area. They were there all of a sudden. I've got, if people, I don't keep up with the rating class, but you like score deer.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say the two biggest ones I have probably score like a 160, 180. If you're scoring them, that's
Right.
a big monstrous deer. I mean, the
Right.
deer's neck has to be huge.
Yeah.
So if you think about that, this surplus of population of deer, why wouldn't a Bigfoot? Why wouldn't it follow it down there for a
Right.
food source?
Right.
But I tell you what, when them Bigfoot gets my deer, I'm gonna be very upset. Very upset.
Be like the guy I saw today on a video. He was hauling in a tuna or something like
Mhm.
that, and there's a big white shark that bit almost half of it off, was sitting there eating it as he was pulling it up out of the water.
Oh, I'd be like that.
Triple Oscars is with us tonight on a Saturday. Glad to
Hey,
see you
how
here on
you doing?
Saturday. Yeah.
Love it. Thank you.
So talking about Ball River Falls, hasn't there been some sightings on top of that?
I've got, come to think of it, I've got two that stand out to me, and they're both the same. And come to think of it, the one that I heard, probably the earliest one, the way the man described that Bigfoot describes what I seen Friday night. Come to think of it, it was that same color, but he's seen it during the day. They were up there on top of the falls on the kind of the backside.
Mhm.
They were digging for ramps. So as up there digging, they heard a noise come from their right. And as they looked up, they seen this, he said, female Bigfoot. It had breast and everything, he said, come walking across the trail. And as it walked across, it kind of had this um, twilight look to it, like Edward or whatever his name is.
Mhm.
It kind of glimmered.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Vampire Bigfoot.
Yeah, there we go.
It's a shiny Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Wow.
It was bedazzled.
Yeah. And there was a guy sometime later, he wasn't at the Ball River Falls, but sometime later he was out past Green Cove. I think at the state line campground, there's another pull off right at that end. You can go and ride around. It's actually where the Jeeps used to ride. They don't do that no more. He was there looking for I don't remember what he's doing, but anyways, he said he was off the trail, off the road a little bit, was walking around. Next thing you know, he had a crash. He looked up, and this Bigfoot, sort of the same, that brown tannish color, come walking across. Well, not walking. He said it looked like it was sprinting. He said, but the movement it was doing as it was kind of gliding. He said it was gliding, but like flying at the same time. He didn't know what to think of it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interdimensional Bigfoot vampires.
There we go. The
Shiny.
Vamp Squatch.
Yes.
Yeah, the Vamp Squatch.
Yep.
Uh-oh.
That's pretty wild.
That'd be something.
That would be.
Be kind of like the Gugways. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be like your Gug. Yeah. Because they've got faces like that with the sharp teeth and everything.
Yeah.
That'd be scary.
No thanks.
No.
Not unless I'm packing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some holy water and 10 millimeter.
I found out how to make holy water.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Boil the hell out of it.
Oh, pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah. That's good. I like that one.
Oh man, that was a good dad joke I learned the other day, and I was like, I've been using it everywhere I can.
Yeah, I need that one too.
What did they say? Oh,
Leanne.
Leanne.
Leanne's a new watcher. She says this is incredibly interesting.
Oh, thank you, Leanne.
Stephen's interesting. He's
Yes.
got a lot of good
stories.
information.
I try.
Yes. Yeah.
Did I tell you about the red wolf we run into?
No.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that they don't exist no
They
more.
don't exist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Just
they-
kind of like the mountain lions I run into up there.
Right.
So, again, it seems like spring is big movement for them up. Something's up, seems like big movement for us. We're
Right.
running into something. Well, we got on one of these roads up there by Turkey Creek, one of the logging roads, and just walking down through her. I'm call blasting this, that, and the other. And I'm hearing a tom or gobble way, way off in the distance. We're just easing our way to him. And keep in mind, I've got my backpack on. And in my backpack, I've got these 2 turkeys decoys sticking off the side of my back like this. With no orange. I mean, of course, during turkey season, you don't have to wear orange. But
Yeah.
here I am with these 2 big old turkey decoys on my back. We're walking up there, and I'm calling, and you just hear this big crash come out of the woods. I didn't see it until it jumped out in the road. This thing jumped out in the road. I drew my pistol because I didn't know what it was. I had another shot. I had my shotgun in my hand, but I drew my pistol. As out steps this canine, large red canine.
Wow.
I mean, just as big. It's just talking about it gives me
Beautiful,
goosebumps.
huh?
Beautiful. I
Yeah.
mean, beautiful.
See, supposedly they removed them all because they was getting distemper and everything, and they took them all out of the area. That's what I heard, and I was like, "Are you serious?
We
Come on now."
need that type of predator because
Yes.
we don't have a predator
Yes.
here, really.
And that was indigenous to the area.
Oh yeah, definitely.
You know.
But see, it didn't click because that weekend we went to the Knoxville Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And we went over there. We're walking up by the rhinos and stuff. We get to the red wolves because some of the family had to go use the bathroom. Me and my kids standing there, seen it. We're like, "Hey, ain't that?" And that is, and it sure was. I mean,
Really?
dead to the speck. It was a red wolf.
That-
Stepped out from me to that wall.
Well, if there's one, then there's got to be
Yeah,
enough to have a sustainable population.
right. And see, that kind of worried me because he was by himself. And then I thought that I'm like, okay, turn.
Yep.
Back to the truck.
Never mind.
Yeah, I don't want to.
You go get him.
Yeah, I got him closer for you. Go. You can have him.
He's probably jumping out because he saw those on your
Probably.
back, and he was like,
Oh yeah.
"Oh, dinner."
He didn't know what to think.
Yeah.
We did both. We just stared at each other. And we didn't say a word. The kids are behind me. I was afraid I was going to catch a bird shot up my left side because maybe him shooting or something. But it was very interesting. I mean, it was every bit from me to that wall from me. Jumped out right in front of me. I think if I'd been a little bit quicker, it probably jumped on my back. Big old turkey walking down through her.
That's what he thought. With those
Oh, yeah.
turkeys on your back.
Yeah, that's what it
I'm
was.
about to get me a turkey.
Yeah.
Then he's like looking at you like,
You're not a turkey.
"You don't look like a turkey. You sound like a turkey."
Yeah.
What's up, Jeff?
What's
Reagan?
up, Jeff? How you doing?
Glad you can join us, buddy.
Well, I've worked where you go. I mean, I'm a storybook.
Let's do it.
Okay.
Just whatever.
Let's talk about something interesting for me and David is not City Cove, but Cates Cove,
Mhm.
around in that area,
Mm-hmm.
because we're wanting to go up there.
Mm-hmm.
So have you got anything?
I don't have a whole lot, but I have dug into it quite a bit. I mean, you look at it, it's your typical sightings, kind of a distance, a lot of noises more than anything,
Mhm.
like yells, screams. People have reported sounds like gorillas fighting in the woods.
Hmm.
That's
What?
a big one that sticks out. There's like 4 or 5 reports I've heard and I've read that they say, oh, it sounds like gorillas fighting in the woods and hollering and
Hmm.
beating their chest. So that's a
What?
big thing there. And then in the Smoky Mountains, every time there's a Bigfoot around, there's usually orbs associated. That's a big thing in the Smoky Mountains. It's not so big our area here,
Mhm.
but when you're Smoky Mountains, you have a lot of orbs associated when it comes to these Bigfoot encounters. I mean, they're just one and one together.
Tell you what's funny is that Greg Ogles,
Mhm.
he'll be coming on the show. What is that? Just before the Bigfoot conference.
July 19th.
But his films, he's got straight up video of these orbs,
Mhm.
and it's cool because I've never seen anything like that. But you get all the, not only the indigenous side of it that a lot of them talk about the orbs and
Right.
stuff like that, but people that have encounters with them and these orbs.
Mhm.
And most of the time, most people just dismiss it,
Right. Yeah.
but to see it for the first time and it's on video, you're like, oh, that's
Yeah.
that's interesting.
I've always that's one place I would love to go and do some field work or look into because somewhere I've never been at night and stuff like that. Every time
Yeah.
I drive through, I'm like, where are you at? Let's walk out through this field. Let's make another patty film or
That's
something,
it. Yes.
I bet, but that's
Instant fame and
oh
fortune.
yeah. And there's been countless stories when Bigfoot are seen that
Mhm.
a UFO appears.
Yes.
That's one of the another big things. What's the connection? Who knows? And then you've
Yeah.
got to throw in the disappearances.
Yes.
Like Genzer talked about the oh shucks,
Missing 411
yeah,
stuff.
the
Yeah.
files that you got.
Yes.
When I was looking into that, the biggest thing that stuck out to me was Oak Ridge National Laboratory was involved. Why?
Yeah.
Why were they, the Green Berets, and everybody there?
Yes.
But nowhere in those documents does it say where the Oak Ridge National Laboratory personnel went.
Yep.
It does
Hmm.
not mention it one bit.
Yep.
And that's
And the Green Berets too. That was weird. Like they don't do that kind of stuff. And then they set up separate and didn't really do anything with the rest of the research or the
right.
searchers. They went on their own.
Yeah.
So it's like,
And there's several people say they were in the area training
yeah,
already.
yeah,
Green Berets just don't drop that and come look for
no,
a kid. I'm
no,
sorry, but
no,
that's just all there is to it.
yeah,
So I mean, this kid had to have some. I would imagine if this is like a president's kid or whatever,
yeah,
yeah, maybe.
yeah.
But the personnel that was on the ground looking for this for Dennis Martin,
Dennis Martin, yeah,
was unreal,
yes,
and nothing was found. But like I
yeah,
said, the Oak Ridge National Laboratory sticking out was the biggest red flag for me
yeah.
because no one knows where they went.
Us
They were
being
just,
able to get those files and stuff was amazing.
oh yeah, yeah, and I
I,
appreciate you sharing it with me.
I
Yeah,
think I think a lot of those a lot of files we didn't get. I do believe that the government knew something else,
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah,
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 definitely.
and they just hushed everything up and
yeah,
just I don't know.
right.
That's what, why would the army and the Green Berets be there?
Yeah, there'd be no reason.
No,
They
none.
don't go looking for that kind of stuff.
They don't. Even FBI.
Yeah,
Why were they there? They really don't
right.
get involved with missing person
Nope,
cases at
nope,
all. But it was,
nope.
and then that
If
same
it was a
FBI,
known kidnapping or something, they do, but
right? But that same FBI agent didn't. I've had to brush up on that, but wasn't he found committed suicide?
suicide.
And actually, and I
Hmm.
remember reading a
Hmm.
document on it, just found it online that
Yep.
they had found. I can't remember his name. They had found him deceased in his home by suicide.
Hmm.
Now that's just funny. That's just
I bet the
weird.
Clintons kidnapped him.
Yeah, it's got to be the
Yeah, the
Clintons.
Clintons are
They're
behind it
they're the
all.
ones who did
Yeah,
it.
and the Rockefellers,
Yes.
big hands and everything. And also, I think I mentioned it last Thursday. Italians, texting back and forth. Here recently, happening as we speak, more than likely, is that a lot of campsites are being closed down in the Great Smoky Mountains.
That's crazy.
And it was like a secondhand story told to
Mhm.
me, or like a third hand story. But pretty much the way it's going is people are leaving by the truckloads, just leaving in the middle of the night, just getting out and just running as fast as they can.
That's interesting.
And the way it's being relayed, what these people are saying is we're seeing stuff we cannot explain. we do not know what this is
Mm.
at all. And I read a report the other day that there's a guy has some property up there at the state line on this
Mhm.
Cherokee side. He's been having howls constantly for the last year and a half, every night like clockwork. And I don't know if that's a correlation with the campgrounds being closed down, but something's going on if the park rangers go in there and stepping in and like, hey, nope, no more camping. We're just going to close it down. It's
Mm.
That's
just
interesting. Do we
very,
think it's Bigfoot or do we think it's might be something else?
the way it was told to me is that people are saying, we do not know what we're seeing. It is not natural, is the way it was put to me. So that opens Pandora's box.
It does. It makes me wonder about Dogman because that seems
Mhm.
like a very weird one to me, like
Yeah.
that. Like something that if you saw it, that would definitely
Yeah.
have the brown pants
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah.
I wish you better be wearing your brown pants
yeah.
because that would be the one for me. Bigfoot, he seems like he tries to get you to go,
Mhm.
but he's not killing you.
I think he just wants to be left alone.
Yeah, it's bluff charges and
right.
throwing the rocks at you, saying, "Hey, just get out of here."
Right.
Unless you're in Portlock, right, Alaska, and then
Yeah.
they dismember you up there.
Oh, yeah.
But
Yeah.
they don't even mess with you. But
Different clan.
yeah, that's what it is. different clan.
It's like the Apaches, and then who was the peacefulest clan?
The Hopis were pretty peaceful.
Yeah.
Well, see, I've thought about this a lot, and like I said, my skeptic friend at work, he kind of brings me back down. He's very religious and stuff. Like he said, think about this. He said the Cherokee called them the guardians of the forest.
Mhm.
He said, why wouldn't God have made somebody or put somebody there to help protect that or something?
Right.
What the possibilities are endless. What it could be. Janice
Mhm.
Carter has said that when she spoke to them,
Mhm.
that they were danced into creation by the imagination of the creator.
Mm.
It's a very colorful way of saying God or something,
Right.
So
Mhm.
Right.
very colorful.
Oh,
That's interesting.
that's very interesting. Hmm.
it
I
gets
know.
deep.
I know that the Cherokee side of it, it's Sukaloo,
Yeah,
and there's many tales even from the Cherokee on that particular being himself.
correct.
And I mean from Guardian, but also um a little bit more than that in other ways,
Yeah.
especially when you start talking about the anglicized name for it, where he came down and you see his hand,
Yeah.
the Judicala,
Yeah. Stone.
Judicala's rock,
Mhm.
which is the anglicized version of
Right.
Sukalu. But where there's almost a bipolarness in the way that things are on
Right.
those things.
I think it has to do with your geographical region. Because if you think about it, you said Portlock
Mhm.
and some of your states out west. Look at what society's like there.
Right.
Look how humans are there. They can be the best people you ever met, or you get to a certain point of that town or that place and it's just awful, or something happens.
Right.
What's to say it's not the same for Bigfoot? What's to say that, we got them old southern Bigfoot down here.
They just like to drink some shine and be
That's
left
it. Yeah.
alone.
Drink.
Go frog gigging.
That's right. Just hunt and live
That's
life.
all
But
right.
then you've got those ones
Uh,
that's just been very hostile
yeah.
a lot of times.
Get out.
Yeah, exactly. Or,
Yeah.
who knows? But
Right.
that's just a good theory to kind of something I've always wanted to dig into.
Right. Yeah.
What do you think about this new Bigfoot vlog? You
Oh
watched
my
them?
gosh, yes.
Some of it's funny.
Some of it's funny and some of it's just outrageous.
For what?
The AI
Oh
Bigfoot.
man.
I found this beer.
Yeah.
Man, I've been having some fun with some of that stuff, and I'm like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I
know, it's
mean,
like-
man, it got over what 6.5 million followers
Mhm.
over that.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Someone,
pretty wild,
you should try to do the Dogman.
There
I
you
ain't seen
go.
the Dogman one yet.
right?
Yeah.
Or,
I've seen the two old ladies. That's funny.
Yeah.
I can't
haven't seen that
say none of
Yeah.
that stuff on here,
I
but
haven't
it's
seen
pretty
that.
wild.
It's gone out of control. That's for sure. But it's hilarious. It'll keep you up at night.
AI's good.
Rolling through Facebook,
Yeah.
they're all over the place.
Everywhere you go, yeah. Bigfoot vlogs. I felt like Jason. I found a case of beer. We're gonna jump out of an airplane. something.
Yeah, and he's recording, you know.
So he's got a cell phone.
No,
Oh.
well, it's on
Looks
the.
like it's on a selfie stick.
Oh, gotcha.
Run around talking like these kids nowadays. I got like something that's cap chat, and I don't know, some crazy talk like that.
That's insane.
Hmm.
That is insane.
Oh yeah, it's nuts what technology will do.
Have you had an encounter yourself that was stuck with you?
Oh yeah, the one where something stalked me out of the woods.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can go through that one too.
Yeah.
So back in October, November, summer's right in there of 2012. Right? Yeah, 2012. Not yeah, 2012. So I went up to a portion of the mountain by myself to kind of do some whitetail hunting. And me and my papa had seen it before, and he had to work. He's kind of think of it. He's 76, 77, 78. He's done retired 3 times. Now he's back logging again.
Oh my
He
gosh.
won't stop. But anyways, that weekend he wanted to work because he just don't stop. And so I went by myself. So I get up that early that morning, go to my pull off spot. It's kind of hard to explain where it's at. I can more show, but it's just one of the main pull offs off the main after you pass the first overlook coming up the mountain. There's a big hill, and at the top of that big hill, for anybody knows what I'm talking about, top of that big hill, there's a big grass open area at TWR cut out for grass and stuff like that for deer and everything else. So I followed the trail out like I normally did that morning. It was dark. I'll usually go in, try to sit down at least an hour, hour and a half before daylight. Try to. Sometimes it don't happen, but try to. And get going down through there and find my spot, and sit down. Still dark. Nothing happens. And I sit there all day. Just lean up against a tree and I'm just looking around, eat my snacks, eat my honey buns and everything else like that. And there's some does come through, but they didn't stay around very long. This big old hog come through, and I thought, you'd be fun, but I'm not dragging you out by myself. So he left me alone, went on, and
You wanted just a honey bun.
probably did. So I'll get to that in a minute. Well, Mama always made sure I had snacks.
Yeah.
So
I heard bears really like them.
oh yeah. But so I sit there all day, and I'm sitting there scoring them out with my hands, kind of see how much daylight I got left.
Mhm.
And I'm watching. I'm like, all right, it's time to pack up. Let's go. Probably get about 2 or 3 minutes into my hike back on the logging road because I was on the logging road, got off a little bit, stopped. Now I'm back on the logging road. So when I got back on the logging road, as I'm walking, just beat bopping down through her, and I hear a crunch beside me. So I just kind of stop, look up to my right, don't see nothing. I was like, okay, whatever, Go walking back out. As I'm walking out and I'm starting to hear crunching and something like a shuffle, but steps, just few yards from me to my right. And I stop, it would stop. I start again, it would start again. So, and I'm like, all right, what are you doing? I thought it was a bear. And I was like, all right, bear, what do you want? A honey bun?
A honey bun.
That's exactly what I was.
Hey, boo boo, he's got a
exactly.
picnic basket.
Yeah. And that's what I was doing as I'm walking down there. I'm talking to this bear because I didn't want him to jump out, whatever,
Yeah.
letting him know I'm there, being loud and everything else. I'm like, you can have the honey bun when I get out. Let me get out down here, So as I'm walking down there, it would stop. Every time I stop, it would stop. I'd pick up my pace. It'd pick up its pace. I'd stop abruptly. It'd stop abruptly. This went on for like seemed an eternity, but it went on for like 20. It took me at this point back on the road. It was probably right about 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes. So as we're walking, I'm sitting here. I was thinking, okay, whatever this is, it's either hungry. If something's not right, this bear can't be right. Something's wrong. So I'm weighing out my options. And as I'm going down the trail, I'm remembering I've got a curve. It's going to curve. It's going to bring this ridge, whatever it's on, closer to me. But if I can shoot straight across, I'll be in the field. And if it's going to keep its distance, it's got to go through the bottom of that bowl or that V and come out behind me. And then I can turn around and see what it's doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking that in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not speaking out loud.
Right.
I'm thinking that in my head. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. Picking my pace a little bit. It picks up its pace. I'm getting to where that curves around to go around the grassy spot. As I turn, I just jumped straight through the little dip. There was a little ditch there. So I jumped through it and I heard it crash down to the bottom of the V. So I hurry up and rush up to the field. So I get into the field and I can hear this thing coming. It was making a, excuse me, it was making a lot of noise, breaking some twigs and stuff on the ground. And I'm like, all right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to load my rifle. And that whole time I never did have a round in the chamber just
Right.
because for safety reasons.
Right.
So I rack it old 30-30 and I'm listening to it and I'm just keeping my pace straight towards the truck. I'm counting in the back of my head. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. I jump around. There's nothing. I was listening to it, and when I was supposed to turn around, that thing should have been right there with me in the field, but it wasn't.
Hmm.
So the way the sun was set, I'm just like, what? And it blew. I'm like, where'd the bear go? I'm like, where did this bear just like vanish? And I'm looking, I'm like, whatever, and then I noticed something. I could see something right in the tree line. There's something just right in the tree line. The sun was in my face at that time. It just started going down behind the mountain, so it was making a very, beam towards me where I was at. And I see a black shadow go across the back side of this field. On the back side of this field, it's kind of drop off in the other side of that bowl. And I'm watching it just go down through that bowl. I'm like, okay, I'm done. So instead
What a bear.
so instead of walking back out to the trail, I just jump off the side of the ridge to my truck. I didn't want to go back out to the trail, so I dropped straight off to off the ridge down to the bottom of the trail to where it leads to my truck. I'm getting my stuff in my truck, and I hear a big old knock way back way back behind me. I'm like, what is going on? What was that? I didn't pay no mind to it. I got in the truck and left and went home. Never did say nothing about it. Nobody. I told my papa about it.
Yeah.
That thing was trying to get your honey bun. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's exactly
if you'd have just dropped the honey bun, it left you alone.
If you just dropped the honey bun, it left you. Yeah, that's what he said.
No, that's funny.
But 2 weeks later is where things got weird because we went back up to hunt, and now bear season had opened, and we got up there to go hunt and everything else with the guys we bear hunt with. And, normally as we do, we go out striking dogs, or we put them on top of the beds and ride around, so we can strike a hot bear that's across the road. So as we're going down through there, they strike once. They start turning dogs loose. So it's got these guys, we call it the dog guys, they got like $20 a piece.
Oh,
so
wow.
at one point in time, there's about 40 dogs in the woods that you got to chase down eventually. So, and he's got at the time is a Garmin Astro 320 or Astro 320 tracking system. It had a tomographic map on an LCD screen and everything, and you could track the dogs in real time. So we're watching it, and you see two younger dogs just kind of break off from the main pack, from the race, what we call the race, and they're like, oh, now let's let it. They're pups. They'll catch back up. They might probably jump to hog. They'll come back. They'll join the pack back. So we hunt. We go around and eventually get a bear bait up in the tree. Young kid that never got one before. He come in. We let him shoot it. Great day. Kid got his first bear. Successful. Time to round up the dogs.
Right.
So for the most part, most of the dogs were there. And we end up catching back up. It caught back up. The one caught back up to us, right? Well, the other one wasn't. It was still showing it was down there in this bottom. So we're like, all right, well, I guess we got to go get him. So we get all the other dogs rounded up, put them in the box, and head back down. And before we went in was from the Skyway Road down. So, when I found it again, I went from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got these Garmins in our hand. We're tracking where the dog's at, and we're looking around like, that dog should be like right here. Where's that? And we're looking around. I just happen to look down to my left, and there's this orange antenna looking thing with a black tip. And I start moving stuff around, and lo and behold, there's the dog. It's dead. Whatever killed this dog looked like you had taken it's put its head between your hands, just clapped, smushed it flat. And I've seen dogs get hit pretty hard by a bear, but that was different. Usually it hit them, kind of break their skin open, maybe break a jaw. I've seen that, but flat. And the other thing, it was buried underneath shrubs, tree branches,
So it
leaves.
did it, then it just
It's just kind of like something covered it up.
trying to hide it.
that bear won't do that either.
No, bear's too lazy to do that.
Yeah.
A black bear, especially.
Yeah.
So that would happen 4 miles from where I walked out from my spot. What thing walked out with me? I don't know what. I'd still.
Aren't you glad it didn't go?
Oh yeah.
That's pretty
Flatten
crazy.
me.
No,
Yeah.
that would be terrible,
That
though. I
would
mean, but
be.
just think about the strength that it would have to have.
Yeah. I mean, when we pulled this dog out and I'm looking at it, and this dog, I mean, it wouldn't say totally flat, but it was smushed. There's brain matter coming out of the dog's head. I mean, it was just all disoriented. The neck was even broken. It was, I mean, whatever it was, is smack, just flattened it, killed it, and buried it underneath. That's the biggest thing.
That's crazy, though.
And I couldn't understand it for a long time. You know,
Yeah.
I don't know. But now, after getting into this research and everything, I'm like, okay, black bear don't do that at all.
No way. There's nothing in the woods that would do that.
Mm-mm.
Nothing.
No, not at all.
No. I mean, an intelligent creature that would be like, oh, well, that sucks.
Yeah. Whoops. Just cover up the evidence.
Because we know that's those people that come in the woods that
Yeah.
came in with those dogs. So let's cover it up so he can't
Right.
see it, because they don't realize that collar, what it's for, probably,
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest thing that stands out is how covered up it was. It'd been one thing if it just laying on top of the ground, never would have thought twice about it. But
Right.
the reason it was covered up was what was so weird.
Yeah.
So,
That's interesting.
yeah. And this was a walker dog, so it's
We need to
black
go
and white.
there.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
We said, dang, sorry for the loss of the dog. That's
It
bizarre.
wasn't mine. It wasn't mine, but and
It's
unfortunately,
still crazy.
it is. And that's the nature when it comes to bear hunting dogs, getting those situations. It's unfortunate, but it happens. But poor dog met a Bigfoot that day, I think. Could you imagine having a dog running Bigfoot? That'd be that'd be wild.
You would need to have something that would be able to track really well, but like a mastiff.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like a mastiff or something,
Yeah.
I don't think a mastiff would have a chance.
No, but a team of mastiffs.
We can get the new dire wolves they just come out with.
Yes.
Oh, they're ones they created?
Yeah,
Yes.
we can use one of them. Hunting Bigfoot.
I think you should put cameras on the dogs too.
That's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I'd like to do that.
Like these right here.
These little GoPros.
Yeah.
Because I think this fall we're going to try to get back into bear hunting, and that's a good idea. I may do that. Maybe it'll happen again. I hope not, but maybe.
Yeah.
Just don't put it on the head because it'll get
smushed.
Well, the last thing you would see would be.
Yep. Just need two big old hands, monstrous hands, a smack.
Be like, hey, if you need evidence
Yeah.
and you don't believe this, here you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I just kind of think of the sound that would have made, because we were done heading down the road when these two younger dogs broke off from the main pack.
Right.
We were on down the road and stuff, so we may, there may have been noise. No one mentioned anything, but I just think of that noise because I put it this way: my other papo, he's a Baptist preacher.
Mm-hmm.
And Lord, that man's got hands on him that can clap and wake up the neighbors across the street. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy gets up and just runs the pews, spits out his dentures, and keeps on going. I fired, that type of guy.
Oh man!
But I take that into reference. I'm like, what kind of sound would that have made?
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
could it? I don't know. It's unreal.
I think it would have been a crazy sound.
Crazy crack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then an irk.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That would have been in there somewhere.
Of course, Miss Janice Carter talks that the actual tree knocks are not them hitting sticks against a tree; it's their hands. She says, from what she has observed of them and talked to them about, they clap their hands and make that noise.
I always thought it was vocal, but
that
sounds,
yeah. She's mentioned that as well. They kind of like pop their tongue. Yeah,
because I can.
Yeah.
Did you hear that wood knock? So Oscar says all cats will bury their uneaten food.
It's the cat man.
Half cat, half Sasquatch, half dog. What do you call that?
That's
I don't know, but that's a lot of halves. That must be a hole and a half.
What was that like?
Well, that's a half and a whole.
What is that off the South Park?
Cat.
Bear man pig.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Now there were some stories, speaking of a cat, that thought of something. There was this woman on TikTok that was saying she was having this creature run around her house, and she lived in North Georgia or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
She was having this feline looking creature that was up on two legs running around her house.
Hmm.
It was acting like a cat, would make all sorts of noises like that, but had this weird feature of a head. It had the rounded head like a cat eyes, but could move and had the midsection of a man. Could you imagine seeing something like that outside your house?
What was that movie?
I would be getting a shotgun, so I'd be doing.
Yeah. And I tried doing research on it. I found some other people there's not a whole lot on it. And I kind of dug into it, and things she was describing would line up with the other ones. I don't know if that's something to it. I don't know if anybody's
Right.
ever heard of the Cat Man.
Never
So
No.
that was a new one for me.
overly
Shapeshifter.
overstocked. Oscar says maybe it's a
The
shapeshifter.
very Skinwalker. Well,
Skinwalker.
could
Yeah,
be.
that makes sense now. I could understand that one.
Oh yeah. The woman
I could
claimed
see
that it
that.
was running around her house and spraying like a cat and everything else. That's what she said.
Huh.
That's interesting.
I'm just reading off.
Right, yeah,
from
no,
her
that's-
report, yeah,
I'm just sitting here trying to process that. It's like, okay.
yeah.
Was it like a human size?
That's what she said. If I remember correctly, she described it being 6.5, 7 feet tall, right in that 6 foot, 7 foot range, but had very masculine looks to it, but also had the features of a cat. And I don't ever think she ever mentioned a tail. That's one thing that I'd wondered about. But no one ever in these reports I've read, like I said, there's only like two or three or something like that. I've never read anything about saying about a tail. But the shapeshifter idea, that's very, very good idea.
Yeah, because then you probably wouldn't get a tail.
Right. Exactly.
That makes a lot of sense when you put the shapeshifter, I think, to it.
Mhm. But gosh,
That
man,
would be weird though.
yeah, and the story of the skinwalker, you have to kill the animal
Yeah.
and put its hide on him. Thinking, poor cats.
Yes.
What kind of
It puts the lotion on its skin.
Yeah, oh, Lord, yeah. Shoot. Some poor cats. I'm not a cat person, but poor cats.
Yeah. We've got one. We rescued her when she was a baby, and we was like, we had chickens.
Yeah.
We was like, oh, she's gonna be a barn cat.
Yeah.
No. No.
She's a house cat.
She's a house cat.
Oh yeah.
She's actually made one kill though. She's got us a rat.
Yeah.
Outside. She left it for a little present outside.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
Wait till they leave it in your shoe
I was just about to say the same thing.
with the head half eat off, and you're sitting there.
Yeah.
it can't come in from outside without us seeing it.
The one we have, she would used to bring in the back half, not the front half. She usually brought in the back half, and I found one in my shoe one time. You talking about being irate?
Oh no!
Shell says 2 kills.
Oh, 2 kills. That's right. Got a mole this afternoon.
My cat's an ace, so she's a little older. She's about 4 years old. Yeah.
That's funny.
Oh yeah.
Cat man.
Cat man. Just that'd be something to see. Not really.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because my mom would be like, what is this? It's like
Right.
before I started hearing a lot about Dogman, I was in that same field, that
Yeah.
same thing. I was just like,
Yeah.
no, no.
See, that's a subject that I want to learn more about in our area.
Yeah.
I've not taken a lot of reports or heard of a lot of reports of Dogman in our area. I have a hard time with Dogman. Yeah, I believe in Bigfoot, but I have a hard time with Dogman in a lot of ways.
I do.
Just with the things that add up to it
But-
and what happens with it.
Susan, Eddie's wife, has seen one for herself.
Yep, I remember that story.
And so I'm like, I believe you're telling me the truth.
Right, yeah.
So I believe that they exist. So I'm sitting here like, now what do I do?
Yeah.
Because it's like, this is just weird because you get 2 different explanations for these things too. Because some of them are almost like a human,
Yeah.
human legs, the whole 9 yards, just with a dog head.
Yep.
Almost like what you would see in ancient Egypt.
Yeah, Anubis.
Anubis, yeah. And then you get the one that has the haunches of a dog, with the dog head and everything. So
Right.
it's like there's 2 different species, or is the one just a misidentified Bigfoot?
Yeah. I think the whole thing with Dogman in a way is more demonish than anything.
Yeah.
But then you get these reports and these stories from people. It don't hurt them. It's just kind of
Right.
like a Bigfoot. It scares them away, shooes them
Right.
away, and whatnot. There's not nothing.
But now
Except,
Land Between the Lakes.
that's about to say, that's where I was going. Now, Land Between the Lakes. Now it's
Yeah.
got that terror. Martin Groves' story.
Mhm.
I've looked that man in the face, and he's told me that story, and it hits you like in the core.
We got to see him at the Bigfoot festival.
Yeah.
And everything.
He's
so,
such a great guy.
Yeah.
Bless his heart right now. He's sick and stuff.
He's
right
not
now.
doing good right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
But,
everybody think about him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, we want to go to the Land Between the Lakes.
I want to go. That reminds me, I've got just in the last 2-3 months, a buddy of mine at work was telling me about some stories that come out of Land Between the Lakes.
Oh, really?
I hadn't heard of.
Oh.
So we'll start off with the swimming dog man.
Yes.
Yeah. So
was he doing the dog paddle? No.
Probably was. Yeah. So the story goes, a couple people's run into this, not a whole lot from what I understand, that they would fish this one slough and everything because it had the best fish and whatnot. Well, this one night, these group of guys kept hearing this howl come off the ridge off the other way from them, and didn't know what it was. Well, all of a sudden, they said this creature just burst out of the woods. This dog-like massive creature just in full fury and jumps off in the water and starts swimming after them. And the way the story goes, they're trying to fumble around and get this boat started and get out of there.
That sounds like a scary movie,
yeah,
like I can't get the keys, get park my car.
Yeah, they said they get it. I mean, they just hit it right off and just took off. They was in like a flat bottom John boat, and they just took off. And there was a similar story of it happening again to somebody else. But this time, the way that story goes, it kind of went underneath the boat and come out the other side. Yeah, that was that one I heard in a little film because my buddy was telling me about it, so I started doing research in it, and that's what I found out, that there's these 2 or 3 encounters like that.
That's interesting.
And Whistling Jacks out there in that area. So, because a buddy of mine grew up on Mont Eagle, and that his daddy always talked about Whistling Jack. You start hearing the whistles, boy, you better come in.
Well, and back in the day, a lot of the old people say if you're out in the woods, don't be whistling. Do not whistle in the woods because the whistle jack will get you.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Our papa always said, don't worry, them boogers will get you. Them boogers will come out and get you. Everything else. And then my buddy of mine, his dad was a coon hunter. And, he used to tell me about his coon hunting stories because I used to coon hunt quite a bit and everything else. Well, they said there's been out there one time that he said his dad wasn't there, but they come back and told him. So it's like a third, fourth person story right at this point. So they go out and coon hunt this one night in that area. I think it was at Land Between the Lakes, if I remember correctly. They go out and Land Between the Lakes and coon hunt like they have done before. And they start, hollering for the dogs. It's time to go. Let's get the dogs back. Well, dogs wasn't answering. They wasn't coming back. And this is probably in your early 40s and 50s and stuff like that. They didn't have stuff.
No tracking collars.
No tracking collars. Probably old burnt light and everything else. So they're out there and trying to get their dogs. And as they're going through the woods, they come up on stakes with these dogs' heads on it.
Oh, man.
2 or 3 of them. Yeah. That happened. I got to digging into that. And I found that same story on a forum on the internet and everything else. And there's other people saying, yeah, my granddaddy told me the same thing happened to them when his best coon dog's got its head ripped off, put on a stake.
The predator.
That's crazy. That's like, don't come here.
Exactly.
That's a statement.
Oh, yeah. And a lot of weird stuff happened like that over towards Mont Eagle Mountain, plumb over to, Land Between the Lakes. But it seemed like Land Between the Lakes is the worst. I mean, obviously.
Yeah. I'm going to try to get the same person that got me the other information.
Yeah.
I'm going to see if he can get me some information about the missing people from there because they won't give it to nobody. Martin Groves, everybody says that they can't get it.
No, even David Pilates has tried to offer millions of dollars to get the reports. They just won't get. They keep jacking up the price. Why? Why do you not want us to know? It's just a weird coincidence. Very weird.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of campgrounds they're closed now too. Jesse and Joe from Hellbent Holler.
I watched their show quite a bit.
Oh yeah, I love them. They're great people. I love talking to them, stuff like that. And they explored some of the campgrounds that were closed off and abandoned and stuff like that. Now I've got an app on my phone called Onyx Hunting app that
Mhm.
helps me show property lines, stuff like that. There's certain markers on the app that tells you what this is. There's 4 or 5, as last time I checked, areas that are red line and yellow line, which means it's restricted to personnel other than military or
Hmm.
government official. So
What?
yeah. So why would you want to
What
cover
are they hiding?
exactly?
And
a lot
is
of
that the same area that Martin Groves had his experience?
That's what I'd like to know. Well, actually, 2 of them. There's one dock that's most of them are docks. That's the weird part. Maybe it's construction. I don't know. I'm not there, but a lot of them are docks and stuff like that, and resemble those areas. But the one where he talks about he went to the Devil's Backbone, there is one big one that's not far from the Devil's Backbone. So, and they don't tell me how long they've been closed down, but they are. The last time I looked,
That's interesting.
very.
I don't even know when the campground's open, if it closes or anything like that.
I have no idea, to be honest.
Because we're wanting to go somewhere when it gets a little cooler.
Mhm.
You know, October.
I know during 4th of July, because I just seen them post about it, they have a laser light show. That would be something to go out
That'd
there,
be neat.
go out there in the middle of the woods, and while they're doing that, see what all comes, to be curious, you know.
It'd be the time to have your thermals and everything.
I know
else out.
that there's a place I want to go when we go there. It's called Hotel California. It's the old house of,
Yeah,
I forget whose house it was, but
heard of it.
it's a
I love the
weird,
house.
weird house built right in the middle of the woods.
I want to see all
That's
them
interesting.
concrete outhouse, like not outhouses, but them little bunker looking things,
Mhm.
and see what those areas about. Because not far from those areas where Jesse and Joe from Hellbit Holler caught that thermal. Have you seen that video?
Mhm.
They thought caught that thermal, this very large canine head peeking over a ridge. It would have had it been a creature 6 to 7 feet tall to see over.
Right.
That just blows your mind.
Yes.
So I'd hate to see that through a thermal. I sound like a tough man, but I see something, I'm gonna run. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm gonna start slinging rounds or something.
I'm the opposite. I'm the run too.
Yeah, you're into it.
Yeah, I'm always just I'm so interested in it. I'm just let's go. Let's go.
No, not me.
Jason's the opposite of me. You
If
say
he
you have
ran
your
to
friend
it,
that's your person that brings you down.
Yeah.
Jason is he's the guy who helps ground me.
I'll back you up. I'll be way in back of you,
It's like
backing you up.
Copper Hill.
Yeah, hey Bob in
Bob
Copper
Gray
Hill.
is in Copper Hill.
Hello, Copper Hill. It's
Yeah.
like I've told my buddies and stuff. I said I don't have to outrun what it is. I just have to outrun you.
Yes.
That's all it is.
All you have to do is trip them and
Yeah,
just keep running.
that's it. Keep going. Of course, which I've got a buddy, and I don't think I'm giving away too much sensitive information, but I've got a buddy that did some, how do I put this, black flag stuff. So we've had this big scrap. It's actually the guy that helped me find Arcane Discoveries, but none of us really have the time to do a lot of stuff like
Right.
we want to. But we always had this big plan. What would we do in Land Between the Lakes? Our big go out plan was to use some of those assets he had available, I think still, and use it to get a body removed from there. Because there's an Air Force base not too far, within some nautical miles,
Mhm.
one of them parachute planes that picks it up from the ground, get it out. So it's been very well planned. We just got to put it together. Yeah,
There you go.
yeah. And found a crazy hillbilly he still knows of, or that has BMGs.
Really?
Yep.
That would do it.
Yeah, that would do it.
That would do it.
Yeah.
You ain't surviving that BMG.
No, no.
And if you do, then I'm running.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all it's about. You'll see nothing from me. It'll be
That's what he said. He said, if it survives a BMG round, he said, I'm either going to run or call an air support.
yeah.
I'm going to napalm that place like Vietnam.
That's it.
So Bob says he was thinking about going to the start of the Ocoee River at the pull off overlook and maybe see some UFOs tonight.
Oh.
There's been some lights reported there before. Similar to some of the lights I've seen on Cherokee, or my side over here in Monroe County.
Yeah.
There'll be like these red or green dots in the sky, and they'll just run around like crazy, and like they won't be stationary. It looks like a laser pointer is what it is, but they're moving so erratic. It's they're here, there, here, and they're up and down, sideways, zigzag at an angle, and everything else. They're moving rapidly, and then they'll just poof, gone. I know
Wow.
a lot of people that has seen that, and myself included.
I know Eddie and Susan, when they came on, they had some video from their house of some UFOs. And those things were
Oh yeah,
freaking
yeah,
amazing. Like you can see it come in and that thing's just sitting there kind of blinking and it's sitting in one spot forever.
uh-huh.
And then it just starts moving
Yeah.
and then it stops. And then at one point it breaks, like two of them break off from each other and one goes one way and one kind of goes the other.
Yeah.
You're like, that's
Oh yeah,
that's not natural. Planes don't break apart
No.
and fly away. They break apart and fall.
Yeah. If anybody's interested in being in Polk County doing some digging, all you need to do is go sit at the where everybody gets out from when they float from Webb's store.
Uh-huh.
Sit in that parking lot for a little while if you don't get run off. Sit in that parking lot for a little while and tell me what you hear. I've heard some very sinister noise come from them woods around it. Very
Really?
sinister. Yes, like it freaks me out even thinking about it. I've seen there's that little not a cap, like little store at the bottom that
Mhm.
I've seen faces in those windows. I've heard it's like someone walking down the truss, a railroad truss, that's beating the far out of it.
Hmm.
And the worst one, we were sitting there one night, and over our conversation I had with my friend and my wife and his girlfriend at the time, we're all having a conversation. This laughing, kids laughing, two sets of kids, like you can tell it's two kids, starts overpowering us coming from the ridge on the upper side of the road. And we just stopped like, what is going on? Why is there kids in the middle? It was like 2 or 3 o'clock at night, or it wasn't that late, but it's like midnight.
Yeah.
And it was kids playing in the woods. And
Hmm.
that laughter went from laughing to screaming bloody murder. And
Where was this at?
at the web store, at the trust where everybody gets out.
Bob Gray says we do have the Bigfoot Museum in Blue Ridge.
Yeah.
Go now. Huh.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Plus the Higdon Hotel's there. And it's
I've heard
pretty,
of that.
I've heard of that.
It's pretty haunted. It's not necessarily a lot of the main thing that comes out of that, people sneak into it and look around. You can get permission because that whole Higdon family is like they have an actual society together because it was a big part of that area. But if you get permission and go in, people at night have heard chains being dragged through the floors, knocks coming through the windows, and I've been through and seen faces through the windows in the middle of the night, just catch a glimpse of it. You ought to see.
Jason, we got to try to get in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's some, most of them are still, like I said, they actually have a website, the Higdon family or something like that.
How far up in the?
It's not far. It's right off the side of the road. Like if you're at Webb's store, right?
Mhm.
If you looking at the store and you turn and look, there's the Higdon Hotel.
You
It's
think
right
they
there.
have the internet there?
No,
So
they
we'd
may
have to.
now.
We wouldn't be able to do a live then.
I mean, would your phone work there?
I'm trying to think if there's some. It's been a long time since I've been down there. There may be a little bit of service now with the way the cell
Things
tower
are.
stuff. Yeah,
If there's service, we could do a live
Yeah.
investigation.
yeah.
That would be amazing.
I've always wanted to go. I ain't never been in there. I've always wanted to. I've
Yeah.
just been by it. And I know I had a
Well,
buddy.
we'll let you know if we get in.
Oh,
if you want to go.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. I've passed that thing so many times. Like, what are you inside? What are you just like? And I've seen photos. It's
Yeah.
very weird.
Yeah.
So it's like even the old school in Sweetwater here. I'd like to go in it.
I would too.
I've heard story after story come up from that place.
TMG or TMI.
Yeah.
It used to be TMI.
Yeah. I heard that it's starting to fall apart on the inside of that place.
I'm sure it is. It's old.
Yeah.
So my brother-in-law, a long time ago, they got into it and went in there, and there's this one hallway. And they said as they come to the hallway, there's multiple classrooms and stuff down through there. I about jumped at that because I'm telling a ghost story and I did not know what that was. So anyways, so they're standing there at this hallway. Yeah. And next thing they know, doors start slamming all the way down. And there's one classroom at the very end. They said it just slowly shut, like someone was looking around it, just like, oh, not today. And then they left. But they said the other doors down the hall just slamming back, getting shut. But the other one at the end, he didn't mention a shadow. He says the person he with seen a shadow at that door at the end, but it just kind of slowly shut.
Hmm.
So ever since I've heard that, I'm like, yeah, I want to go in there.
Yes. I can be able to get. Oh,
Thank you,
thank you,
Bob.
Bob. I would like to get permission to be able to go in
I've
there.
been in there.
Have
Used
you?
to when I mean they had done closed it down, but they had opened up a gym in there. Had their big Olympic sized swimming pool. So I went in there to the gym and stuff. It's pretty spooky
Is
just
it?
in that part.
Is it?
Because they got these rooms where the weight room was. It was just like a block room. Oh, it was pretty wild.
Did
That's
you
interesting.
ever see the old Etowah Community Center, where it used to be in like middle of town? Well, not middle of town, but like residential area.
Mm,
That was a very sketchy old school to be in.
really?
Multiple people. I had friends that lived around it, and they would tell me all the time, "Oh, we seen a face in the window of this weird, very weird room. I mean, very weird building." We used to play. There's no basketball arena in there, and we used to play in it. And there's every time we went in there, don't know what it was, but there was this weird object hanging in the ceiling, and there was a light pointed at it. Every time you went in there to play basketball and looked straight up the center of the goal or center of the floor, there's that whatever it was in the ceiling. It's the weirdest thing.
That's interesting.
Even the bathrooms were weird. To me, it looked like they were the surrounding was vibrating. Like you can see it vibrating around you. It's this weird green color, and you could see it like vibrating. It was really weird. This is a really weird place. They tore it down a few years back. I'm like, what gins turn loose?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was trapped?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Was it?
He says today, Bob says he's figured out how to trap a UFO. I'd like to hear that.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be
I'd
interesting.
like to know that too.
Yeah.
Do a EMP on it or something.
Yeah.
I've thought about going up to Buck Bald, setting up a array of instruments, and just see. I don't know if there's a way. Maybe you all know. Is there a way you could broadcast a signal, like maybe a certain gigahertz, and see what responds? Because I even like I was talking about the lights and stuff. People report them out there. I haven't been up
Mhm.
there in very well. I've actually never been to Buck Bald. Believe it or not, I've never been up there. But I've always, ever since I've learned about it, I've always wanted to go up there and set up an array of tools and see what you can, film, hear, or
Yes.
whatever. I think that would be
Yeah.
very interesting, especially if you can do the signal.
I've seen where people have a program on their like a laptop,
Mhm.
and then have a nice speaker system that could handle
That
some,
the
be
noise.
able
Well,
to push something out really good.
Yeah,
you see it on Skinwalker Ranch all the time where they're broadcasting that frequency.
Yeah.
I think they're doing it through like a radio wave. I don't know if it's necessarily sound,
Yeah.
but I think they're doing it through like a radio wave.
Yeah.
It kind of be like a ham radio, I would imagine.
Yep.
If you could figure out how to tune it to channel and to put out something through the air,
Yep.
maybe that's how they're doing it in a way, but more easier for them, because
Yep.
they've got the funds for it.
Right.
But I thought maybe a ham radio would be a good way to do that.
Yeah.
Because even my little small ham radios, I can program a certain hertz into it to use it. I use them for hunting and stuff like that, and on a channel we used to hunt with.
Right.
So it just makes you think if you could do that 1.6, 1.2, whatever you want to do, see what happens.
I know a lot of these people that claim to call UFOs to them and stuff. They use meditation, and they meditate, and they might play some kind of frequency. I don't know, but CE5, I think's the group.
Mhm. Yeah. CE5.
Yeah.
That's what's his name.
Richard Greer.
Yeah. Dr. Richard Greer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
if
what
you
he started.
think about it, vibration and everything else through radio waves and hertz and everything else is a big energy form.
Mhm.
You're giving off energy. We're all in this room
Yep.
giving off a vibrant energy,
And
right now.
things we think that's animate are doing the same.
Exactly. So that's just more fuel to the fire.
Yep.
If we can, do that, and if you can take it, magnify that, there ain't no telling what you could power around
Right.
you.
Yep.
So
So that's how you can walk through walls and stuff too. If we could change our frequency.
Yes. All you'd have to do is match the frequency of that wall.
Yeah.
And you'd be able
Exactly,
to just walk right through it.
That's wild, ain't it?
Yep. That's how the
Just think-
ETs do it.
humans at one point in time was probably able to do that.
Yeah.
We're so domesticated now, we don't even use the full power of our brain.
I mean, most people have tender feet and can't even walk barefooted outside.
know.
You know?
Me.
So I mean,
Yeah.
anything else, I mean,
Yeah.
just whatever.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
surprised we could even swim,
Yeah, I know it. Yeah. Before too long, we'll be floating around in our own chairs and everything else.
Yes.
We done got handed that with COVID, so it's just going to come along.
So Bob says to trap a UFO, he says it's taken forever, but it's following Navy protocols. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I know they
Oh, they see a lot of them.
I don't
Oh,
know
yeah.
if they trap them, but they have a lot of encounters.
They can track them.
Trap.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I just wonder how they would do that. These things are moving at such a magnitude,
Yep.
far more advanced than what we have currently to this date. That'd be interesting to see or read and know how they do that.
Have you ever had a big UFO sighting?
Honestly, I can say I haven't. Like maybe I can't say I have. That's one thing I've probably not run into. Now that you say that, I'll be on my way home. Here come a saucer right for me.
I had a buddy of mine that his sister and her son, and he was, I think he said, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 at the time her son was.
Right.
And they was going out towards Polk back to
Yeah.
their mama's house. And you know where that one road kind of curves back, and then you look down. They started building. Well, they put in a road and then put in a cul-de-sac. At the back of that, there's a Indian mound,
Yeah.
and so they never was able to build there.
Right.
Well, so she was coming around that curve, and she said before she got to where it opened up, it looked like a laser light show, like someone had a big party going on or something there.
Really.
And she said as they come around, they seen this thing that was, I think they said like a football field size,
Really.
just sitting there.
Yeah.
And she says as she comes around, this thing, the lights went off
Mhm.
and it tilted up just like this and went up above her
Yeah.
and then went and was gone.
See, I've heard 2 or 3 other stories just like that. My other brother-in-law, him and his family experienced something very similar as you're going. They used to live off 129, go up to the Dragon.
Mm-hmm.
They had the very same thing happen there as they was going home one night. And I've heard one or other 2 people similar to that. Like, had one guy tell me about a Dorito shaped one he's seen.
Okay.
So he said it's like a Dorito shape. It had 2 lights on the sides of it, but he could make out the black mass of it as it was going up the into the sky.
That's wild.
Really?
Mhm.
Now I had a landlord. It's been a long time ago, but he claimed that he was abducted, and I'm serious. He was very serious about it. I mean, I think he was even on a show in New York about, or was going to be, or something like that. But his name was Eddie, and he's from around here. So he used to mow a lot of churchyards and stuff, and that was his business, side business.
Yeah.
But he told me that he was mowing down at Prospect Church, the graveyard, and that he said this ship. He didn't tell me what it looked and what shape it was, but he said he called it the mother ship. He said it come down and did a 90-degree turn, and the next thing he woke up and had all his lost time. And he swears, he showed me the scar in his belly button. He said they put something in his belly button.
Really?
That's interesting.
Very.
And he'd been able to see orbs in his house since then, and all kinds of crazy things has happened to him. But he swears up and down that's what happened.
I believe him.
I tend to kind of stay away from that subject because I've got it all written in this notebook. I did some research on Nephilim and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And I have a theory that Hitler could have been a possible Nephilim.
Mhm.
Just because, Nephilim were described to be giants. They'd
Right.
be huge people. But if you think about it, over time, genetics is going to take over.
Right.
And eventually, you're going to not have the large person anymore.
Right.
But this research led to that. It led to me finding out these Anunnaki sound very similar to our Greys and whatever else
Mhm.
like that. They're here for knowledge or to make something or to make it better and stuff like that. And I did like a huge deep dive. I got 3 or 4 pages in this notebook of just, one thing after another and how it leads to the Bible and everything else and ancient Mesopotamia.
Yep.
So when I started down, I'm like, oh gosh, okay, that's enough of this. It kind of worried me a little bit. And that's another one of the things I have. I ain't gonna say it's not real, but I have a hard time with it. But just because in my way I was raised in the Baptist church and stuff like that, that was the devil pretty much. Anything
Right.
Papa always told me, if it ain't in the Bible, it ain't true.
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget when I got the nerve to ask that man if Bigfoot was mentioned in the Bible. I thought he was going to run right through me.
Actually, there's a lot of things that was took out of the Bible
You're right. You're exactly right.
that
Yeah.
should have been in it.
Mhm.
But
Yep.
Yeah, like the Book of Enoch and all
Yeah.
that other stuff.
when you talk about the Anunnaki, I do believe they were here from somewhere else,
Mhm.
and they did give us the knowledge, and they probably engineered humans. I
Oh yeah,
think. I
they
think.
genetically did
Yeah.
something. I've always thought that they were part of the fallen. When God
Yeah.
casted the angels out, they were part of the fallen,
Yeah.
and they came with the knowledge and everything that they knew, and started putting their own little spin because they wanted to be worshipped. And what was one of their biggest thing was gold.
Yeah.
And, they had a thing for gold and stuff like that, and they wanted to be worshipped and they wanted to be looked at, and they had these craft and everything else, and it just builds up to a lot of stuff on down the road. So
I think they went out and were put in different places or went to different places, and that's why you got the Mayan pyramids. You got pyramids all over the world.
oh yeah, everywhere.
It's got a different little twist, but it's the same story.
Most definitely.
I just think there's a big connection in all the Mayan, the Egyptians, and all of that.
Yep.
Everybody's
Well,
crossed.
even in
And
India,
the mound builders,
Yep.
they, I mean, it's just, I believe it's all connected.
Oh
Yep,
yeah,
it
definitely.
is. It is.
They've all intermingled at one point in time.
Yep,
So
absolutely. Yeah.
it's like I was mentioning today. I'd heard a story. I've heard it a couple of times. They said that Cherokee talked of you may know the story better than I do, but they talked of a healer that come from the Far East.
hmm
And the way it was described to me and the way that guy kind of translated was they could have been Jesus, possibly. There's a lot of Jesus' life that was not documented. Who knows? And then if you look at all the floods, the mud floods, and everything, all the societies that live talk about somebody coming to show them the way. They all talk about the flood. They all talk about somebody helping them and everything else. So I mean, who knows? I mean,
Yep, the Moon-Eyed people were some of the lore from the Cherokee.
oh yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. But yeah, you have most cultures around the world that talk about the ones who came after the flood, and they all restarted civilization.
Right.
They taught usually planting and all kinds of different things that they taught them. Usually taught them the stars, taught them all kinds of stuff.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
definitely. Like I said, like we've all intermingled somewhere. And there's someone did some research one time, and I read up on it that they was dating back, like they was trying to prove the evolution of man through monkeys and all that.
Right.
Well, in the studies, they said they could see the mother side was human, but the father side was unknown.
Yep.
Like a lot with your Bigfoot DNA and everything else, it's unknown. We don't know who it is. We don't know what it is. There's no record of it. So it just, I mean, everything lines up together. It sounds like to me. Everybody, like, I don't know.
Right. That's what I think is funny about the Bigfoot DNA. It always comes up that same way every time.
Yep.
I think that's the story of the Virgin. When she's born of a virgin. I mean, come on. Something put something in her.
Right.
Artificially, yes.
Yeah. Artificial, yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
It makes sense. It
Yeah.
comes together.
It just depends on how deep you want to go on this stuff, how far you want to go down the rabbit hole,
Rabbit holes are fun.
Yeah, they can
I
be.
do. I do like them.
Yeah.
You just got to have time.
Yeah.
Time.
And
A lot of time.
Yeah. I've been at several nights. It's like, wow, look at this. Oh, well, it goes to that, So
Yeah.
it's like I got on one before I came here talking about Tom Seawood of the First Nations. He put out a little thing talking about the Bigfoot and burying their dead. and
Mhm.
how they would bury them or put them in caves and everything else like that. The
Mhm.
theory behind it. I've got a whole big section on it. I put in my phone today, but it's pretty interesting.
Mm.
Yeah. So and then the big question it was, well, what happens when people come along and run into the bones or whatever? They pick them up and move them. But I don't know. It's a big deep dive. I'm gonna get off on two next because
Well,
I've
it
always
would
wondered that.
almost be the same thing we would do,
Yeah.
like if people came in and then started trying to settle in a graveyard,
Right.
we're gonna be like,
Yeah.
move these over,
Right. Yeah.
or fight them off, right?
Yeah.
Just throw rocks at them.
Yeah. Throw rocks at them, scream at them, run
That's
around
right.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you're messing with my grandpa over there,
Yeah.
But it makes sense to me that they would bury their dead.
Yeah. It would to me too.
It does, because if they stay in family groups and stuff like that, it would show that they would have that type of thinking of
Right.
the afterlife and whatever else, and laying something to rest. And then I think it would be on the other side of it too. How do you stay hidden? Well,
Right.
you can't find me if I bury this person that died, or this, my whatever that died. If we bury it, then
Right.
it makes it to where you can't stumble across it.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. That makes sense.
So you could go either side of that one.
Yeah.
The cat card common.
So, you got anything else you
Um.
want to go over?
I'm sure I've
Anything,
got lots
anything.
of in my mind. I mean, I've got my whole notebook full of stuff and whatever you want to hear.
We
I'm an open
got
book.
probably enough time for one more.
We've got what?
We got about 22 minutes, 23 minutes, but we don't want to go over that tube so we can get some, generations.
Yes.
Good. I don't know. We can talk about my incidents in Jeffrey's Hale.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, all right. Jeffrey's Hale, the whole story behind it is that this old man by the name of Ebenezer Jeffrey and his famous hound Blue were one of the best coon hunters of this area about 100 years ago now, or a
Right.
little over 100 years ago. Like everybody knew who they were. Well, before it was what it is now, the Cherokee National Forest and all the other stuff in Cityco and known as Cityco, um, they made their own little trail that they would go and coon hunt. It was their honey hole, right? Well, at the same time, all this is happening, the railroad was being built. Logs, excuse me, the railroad was being built. Logs were being removed. I can't remember the name of the company that was like a town there at one point in time moving the logs,
Right.
but all of them were there. And so, was one night, Jeffrey and them were off in the woods. Him and his two of his friends. This is the way the story goes. They were there, and the mountain had caught on fire. And they decided they were still going to hunt a little bit. Well, they got a little too far in, and the fire started growing and more. And it is quoted that Jeffrey said, "I'd rather go to hell than to lose my dog." So at that point in time, um, this story goes two different ways. I've heard it two different ways. Either he ran off after Blue, his friends went out to wait on him, or he went home and told his wife, "I'm going back for my dog." I've heard it both ways.
Right.
I just kind of like to mention that because I'm sure everybody else has. So Jeffrey goes looks for his dog. Can't and the friends lose sight. They lose him. He's gone. Well, eventually the next day, the friends are back at the trailhead where they had made, and out steps Blue.
Hmm.
So Blue was standing there just a whining and barking and everything else. Like, hey, maybe we need to go follow him. So they follow Blue off down the trail, which is now Jeffrey's Hale Trail. And as they were going down through there, they lose sight of Blue right at the opening of this very small cave. And the whole mountain had been burnt, like to a char. It had been gone.
Mhm.
There's no, as far as I know, there was no evidence of the two being found at all. It's thought that they just perished into it with a fire and died. So legend has it, you can go up there one night while you're coon hunting or pass through, and you'll hear Jeffrey hollering for his dog Blue, and Blue just barking right away.
Hmm.
But orbs, I've seen orbs come along with that. So,
Really?
oh yeah. So, for instance, one night we were up there, and there was this. We was off coon hunting on the other bottom side because it's a bear reserve. So we was down towards Fire Gap
Mhm.
actually, and on the way back up, we had our dogs and stuff with us. And the way back up, game warden stops us. He's like, "Hey, what are y'all doing coon hunting back here? This is a bear reserve." I said, "Sir, we just come off the fire gap over here and stuff, hunting and everything. We ain't been over here." He said, "Oh, I've been hearing you. I've been sitting up here at the boundary." He said, "I've heard you. I've got you now." I said, I kind of chuckled. I said, "You've been hearing Jeffrey and Blue." He said, "That old story, you believe in that?" I'm like, "Well, I've seen some things that look like orbs make the mountain look like they're on fire. You get up to them or get pretty close to them, they just poof, disappear." So, but this particular night, we're standing there in the middle of this road, and he's asking us all sorts of questions. And next thing you know, you hear "Roo, roo," off in the distance to our right. And I looked at him. He said, "Y'all good to go." I run into him in town about 2 or 3 weeks later, and I asked him, said, "Hey, did you catch that dog?" He said, "I don't want to talk about it." I tried to guess. "What'd you say?" He said, "I don't want to talk about it." He said, "I'm gonna get you or I'm gonna give you a ticket if you keep on." I'm like, "I'm just asking you a question, dude. We're not even in the mountains."
Yeah, you can't give me no ticket for.
Right. But like I said, a lot of things happen there with orbs, and you can hear Jeffrey hollering for his dog. You can hear Blue barking. A lot of times you'll see a blue orb, and that's normally either Jeffrey or Blue running through the woods. And I've seen like this flashing red, looks like fire, and you'll see like, "Oh my God, the mountain's on fire," and go over and look, and there's nothing there. It's gone,
Hmm.
just poof into midair. You can smell smoke, you smell fire, everything else when these orbs are around, and it's usually off that um, right at the top of what we call Monkey Holler. There's Trail 105. You take Trail 105 and go down through there, and it'll break to the left, and that takes you off in the Jeffries Hill Trail. It's a beautiful trail, lovely trail.
Right.
But you can be off there in the middle of the night, and you can hear Jeffrey holler. Even at the main road, I've heard it and seen the orbs.
Hmm.
So,
That's amazing.
So how far is the trail to the?
so I'd have to look it back up. So I'm gonna say from the road to the end of Jeffries, because it's just a little branch. It don't make a full circle. It's like a little branch from the road to the end and back. It's like a 7.5, 8 mile round trip.
Mm-hmm.
So it's how far it is off in there. It's beautiful off. I ain't been off in there forever. Come to think of it, I was gonna take the kids and the wife off in there. Tell my papa, but he said, "Don't take them in there. Do not." I'm like, "Why?" He said, "Just don't." You leave them out of there. You that's fine. You went, but do not take him back there. Just leave them out of it. I'm like, coming from the man that don't really gives me a lot of crap for believing in this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny though, because that would seem to be a residual haunting.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Several people have run into something up there. You can hear like that song in that little clip I made, today and sent
Yep.
to y'all.
Yeah.
It talks about a hot summer night. It don't have to be a hot summer night. It can be any time. It can be snowing on the ground. You'll hear them out there. I mean, it's just I haven't heard it in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind experiencing it again, but it's pretty neat because it's just a ghostly yell coming from the woods, and it's just like blue, blue, and it's just like what in the? I mean, talking about gives me chills. And then every now and again, you'll hear that old dog bark back, and it just echoes.
Hmm.
And then every now and again, you can see the glow of the orbs running through the top of and they mainly stay on the top of the ridge. They're usually not a whole lot down the bottom.
Yeah.
If you see the blue ones, they're across the top. The red ones are usually in the bottoms. So yeah,
Hmm.
and they'll be scooting along through there, and you'll smell smoke and fire and hear the dog.
That's cool.
Oh yeah, I love it. I ain't been up there in forever. I'd like to go back. Need to.
We'll have to do that sometime, Jesse.
And actually, kind of think of it, the Trail 105 is not far from where I seen that thing last Friday.
Is it?
Hmm.
The trailhead for 105 is probably half a mile from the entrance to that. So down that road. So that's a weird coincidence now that I think about it.
Yeah.
That's a lot of things happening in one area.
It's a very active area. That whole side of that mountain. And of course, I've always heard stories.
We can have our own Skinwalker Ranch.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's been stories of serpents laying with other serpents that ain't supposed to be laying with one another, just in logs and stuff. It's in that area too. Yeah. I've heard that quite a bit.
Weird.
Yeah. I've heard that a lot. I've not seen it, but I've heard it a lot. So
Hmm.
They talking about like poisonous and non-poisonous type.
Pretty much. Yeah, like rattlesnakes laying with black snakes or garter snakes or green snakes, stuff like that. Copperheads laying with them. They're all intermingled in logs. I've heard a story where a guy lifted up a log and there's all sorts of species of snakes entangled with one another.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it burnt.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's why it caught on fire. Now we know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, Stephen, glad you came on.
I'm glad you had me.
We'll have to do it again sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to go out sometime.
Oh yeah, definitely. We're gonna.
I don't know if I can make it 7 miles.
You got this, Jason.
I'd have to take a break or two.
We can get e-bikes.
Ah, yeah.
We can get e-bikes and ride off under. They're allowed now.
Yeah, are they?
Yeah. Used to you wouldn't be able to, but now you can. So
e-bike.
There you go.
I'll have to go off in there and do some recon and make sure it's not rough because it wasn't real rough back in the day, but it might be now. I don't know.
Depending on how good they're keeping up the trails and stuff. Yeah.
Just have to do some recon. Look.
All right. So we've had Stephen Watson on the show tonight. Hope everybody enjoyed it.
Awesome stories.
I know I did.
Thank you.
You're welcome. More anytime.
He definitely brings some stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
Lots of good stories.
I like it.
I used to remember that. I used to wanted to have the tattooed storyteller in Cherokee on me, but I forgot what it was, so I got home instead.
There you go.
So yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to throw the Bigfoot in there.
I like the Bigfoot.
Let's see it again.
There.
Yeah.
Had to get it included on me.
That's awesome.
All right. That's the show.
Thanks everybody for
we'll let Stephen
yes,
tell
he needs to
everybody
tell everybody where to find him and all that stuff.
Oh yeah. If anybody wants to contact me with any type of stories or anything like that, I've got an email, Arcane Discoveries 423 at gmail.com, or you can find me on TikTok and Instagram. I don't have Facebook. That's pretty much the only two, and YouTube. Well, that's the only platforms I deal with is TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. Right. So that's where you can find me.
Yeah, you need to get him on your show. You got some good stories for East Tennessee.
I go 2 weeks to talk with Tony.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's
July
awesome.
11th, yeah.
We were supposed to go October of last year, and we had to cancel because he had something that he had to do, and he's like, "Hey, can we push it up?"
Yeah.
And then pushing it up, pushed it right into the middle of us doing something.
Yeah.
He's like, "Oh, well, we'll get back together again," and we never got to get back together again yet. So
I'll just take Zipper with me and drop
there you go.
Oh Lord.
Just tell him I said hi. I texted him not too long ago, with all that's going on with his wife and stuff, and told him that we was keeping him in our thoughts and stuff. So, because I still got his number. So,
bless his heart.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah,
really is. If I heard something about like that, I would. I wouldn't be happy.
Oh no, I wouldn't either.
It'd be hard to keep doing the show.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
So for him to keep doing what he's doing, more power, buddy, because it would be hard.
He's very bonded in his faith. It's a good example. A lot of us should look into and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'd like everybody to remember my family.
Yes.
My father-in-law is pretty bad sick, and just remember them in your thoughts.
Yes, definitely. Awesome.
Great show.
Shell says, great show, guys.
Thank you.
All right, David. You got anything?
What do we got?
Oh, we got coming up.
Excuse me.
July the 5th. We're going to be on Paranormal Among Us with Paranormal Paul.
Oh, that's right. We're going to be on his show that night, aren't we?
Next Saturday.
Now I'm going to be in Mississippi, but I'm gonna bring my laptop and I'm gonna still be on the show.
So we got that coming up, and then July the 26th, we got the Bigfoot conference in Gatlinburg.
Just before the Bigfoot conference, don't we have Greg Ogles?
Greg Ogles going to be on the 19th of July. Then the Bigfoot conference. We got a couple more coming up shows. I just don't know them off the top of my head.
If you go to our Facebook page, they're definitely listed. Jason usually puts all that stuff up on our Facebook.
Yeah, they're up there.
So,
all right.
We got that out of the way.
Thank you for watching and listening.
Yes, we appreciate everybody, and you too, Stephen.
Yep.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank y'all for having me back again.
Yeah,
I enjoy this.
absolutely.
I wanted to come talk with y'all first when I went to the other guy.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you.
Yeah.
Come to the little guy first. Remember, you can find us at paranormal411.org, paranormal411 on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Rumble. You can tune in live every Thursday from 7 to 8 p.m. Eastern Time, Saturdays from 8 to 10. Remember, also on Saturdays from 10 to 11, if you're in the metro Atlanta area, you catch us on WDJY-FM, that's 99.1. Now, for listeners outside of Atlanta, all you have to do is listen to us from WDJYFM.com, or you go to our website and click the link. Remember, we're also on Subspace Radio and all major podcast platforms. We have a book out, East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. That is East Tennessee Hauntings and Lore Edition 2. It is available on Amazon or at paranormal411.org. Join us.
Join us.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. We'll see you next
Have a
time.
good night.
Have you ever wondered what lurks in the shadows? What secrets the night hides? What strange phenomena might be happening just beyond your perception? Join us as we journey into the world of the paranormal, exploring everything from ghosts and UFOs to cryptids and unexplained occurrences. From haunted houses to all things paranormal, join us in the search for the truth behind the veil. Welcome to Paranormal 411.